Bienvenue. Les aventures de Frank et Ben. Quatrième série. Frank and Ben go to a pool party at Genevieve's place. 13e histoire. Frank and Ben go to a pool party, part 13. It is while they are gazing out over the Ottawa River that Frank and Ben hear more about Genevieve's parents, who are currently away on their private yacht. It is a beautiful 47-foot sailboat called the Trailblazer. Both Big Bob and the Dewey sisters are in complete agreement when they tell the boys that if there is one thing Mr. and Mrs. Beaupre have in common, it is their love of sailing. Every summer they do a great deal of it on the Ottawa and St. Lawrence River systems. They have also sailed on the Great Lakes, and with this new boat that they bought last summer, it cost Mr. Beaupre over $500,000 and is bigger than the one they had before. They've already done something quite special. They've sailed down the eastern coast of the United States all the way to Virginia. But now an even longer trip is planned. Soon the Trailblazer will take them in great comfort and style all the way to Florida, and then on a 3-week island hopping tour of the Caribbean. But right now they are on a much more modest, if still quite enjoyable and scenic trip. Going by way of the Rideau Canal, we are on a jaunt from Ottawa to Kingston, something new for the Trailblazer, and then out onto Lake Ontario. With them are 2 middle-aged couples who are good friends of theirs and as avid about sailing as they are. Isn't it amazing how much they change once they're on a sailboat, says Judy. Instead of quarreling over every little thing, as they do when they're on land, they relax, take it easy, and really respect each other. If only they could always be like that, says Jody. Then they would truly set an example of what a husband and wife should be. You can't expect them to be lovey-dovey all the time, says Bob. It's not natural. And furthermore, it would wreck their marriage. How can you say such a thing, asks Judy. What do you know about it? I know this much, answers Bob. They're both perfectionists and want everything to look stunning around here. That's another thing they have in common. So they're bickering and quarreling over every little detail about what looks right, or what looks wrong, or what should be here, or what should be there. It's just their way of getting the best results. The Dewey sisters are not impressed by this argument, and so have more things to say about how much they appreciate the way Mr. and Mrs. Beaupre behave towards each other when they're on a boat. Since this conversation eventually becomes boring for Frank and Ben, they wander off a bit and look at things out on the river. First, they notice a pair of mallard ducks with their little ducklings swimming very close to the shore. Then they notice a majestic-looking swan out in the middle of the river. Finally, they are lucky enough to spot a large heron as it comes flying in low and then lands in some shallow water on the far side. When they rejoin Big Bob and the Dewey sisters, they find them still arguing. Indeed, their discussion has widened to include not only how Mr. and Mrs. Beaupre get along with each other, but marital relationships in general. Over the loud protests of the girls, Big Bob argues that passion in a marriage can only be kept going when there are frequent, albeit nonviolent, quarrels between a husband and wife. Frank and Ben listen politely while the Dewey sisters continue to challenge Bob by demanding explanations and clarifications. When he finally ends up asserting that quarrels of even a tempestuous sort can be beneficial to a marriage and lead to moments of reconciliation that, as he politely puts it, for he does make a genuine effort to avoid crudity, keep the fire going between a husband and wife, even Frank and Ben start to doubt his position. They start to think that, given how forcefully the Dewey sisters challenge him on this point and others, he might be going out on a limb.